Hello guys, my name is Rohan and this is the part 5 of Swift programming series. And in the previous video we continued our discussion about arrays, and I told you a method by which you can add items into an array. So at the last I said that in the next video I would show you another method by which you can add items to an array. And I am actually recording this video for the second time, and when I first recorded this I don't know what happened to the sound, so it was just gone, and so I thought that I should re-record the video. And first of all I would like to recap the things that we learned in the last video. So let's I told you that the way you can add items into an array is you have the name of the array in which you want to add an item, so friendless in this case, and then you have a period or a dot, whatever you call that. I'll stick with calling this a dot, and then you have the word append followed by opening and closing brackets like that, and then inside those brackets you type in the item that you want to add into the array. So let's have Ben here, and now we can see on the right hand side that Ben is in our list of Ben is in our array. So now Ben is the part of our array, and it has an index number of 3 because it's the 4th item in the array. So we get Ben. And one other thing that I would like to tell you is, let's say we have a variable or a constant. So let's say we have a best friend, so equals Mrinal, which is my best friend. And let's say we want to add this into our array, so array of friend list. So can we do that? I mean, this is an array of strings. Can we add a variable or a constant into that array? And I have a constant here because my best friend is not going to change anytime soon, so I think it is logically, it's better to have it as a constant. You can even have a var, it doesn't matter. It's just an example that I'm giving you here, but in this case I'm gonna have let. So my question to you is that is it possible to add a variable or a constant to an array of string? Now the way to actually know that is doing that. So let's have friend list here dot append, and then we have the opening and closing brackets, and inside this array we are going to have best friend here, which is the name of our constant. And whoa, we can do that. So you see that the value of best friend, which is our constant, and its value is Mrinal, has been added to our array. And this is because Mrinal is of type string, so the variable best friend, if we actually option click on this variable, will have this pop-up window. It will tell us about the type of the variable or constant, which is string. And remember that friend list is an array of strings, so that means we can have strings in this array, and Mrinal is a string, so best friend is an array of type string. And by the way, string is just plain text, it doesn't mean anything else. String, when I say string, it means that I am referring to plain text, and that text can include all the alphabets. It can even have special characters, so anything that is within double quotes is a string. Now back to the main topic that I was telling you is that we can add variables or constants to an array provided that they are of the same type, that is they are of the same types as the type of items in the array. So let's actually try and add a number to our array. So var number equals 2, and let's add it to our array. Friend list dot append, and opening and closing brackets. Inside I'm going to specify the name of the variable like this, and then you see that we get an error that says cannot convert value of type int to expected argument type string, which just means that it is saying you that hey, this right here is a number, but we cannot append a number to an array of type string. I mean an array that is comprised of items that are of type string. So because this is a number, we cannot add this to our array which is comprised of items that are of type string. So yeah, and if we have to in double quotes, in between of double quotes, we will see that we are able to add this to the array, and this is because this now is not a number. Remember that I told you that anything in double quotes is a string, so this is now a string, and we can even check that. So if we option click on our variable name, we see that it is of type string, and when we have plain 2, simple just 2 without anything else, and we option click on the name of the variable, we see that it is of type integer. So yeah, just that for you to note. And you might think that hey, I am telling you things that are not important, but trust me, this is important, and it might be helpful to you when you say maybe start iOS development. So yeah, so I'm gonna have gives error here, and yeah, so let's actually have another example. So friend list dot append, opening and closing brackets. And inside this, let's have we have Ben, we have Mrinal, we have Steve, we have John. Let's have Kevin here. So we can see that we have Kevin right here. So you can add another item in. So we just added another item into an array. But don't you think it is a long process to add items into the array one by one? Can't you add them, multiple items in an array at once? So let's try doing that. Let's have and by the way, it has already given us an error. Let's say we have Gwen here, and we have an error. That means we cannot add multiple items in an array. This is not exactly true. This is true for this method, but it's not exactly true because we can actually add multiple items into an array using another method, which is what I am going to show you just now. So let's comment this out. Let's have this here too. So now we are beginning to learn about the second method. So let's have friend list. The way you add items in an array using this method is you first have the name of the array, then you have this symbol right here that I'm showing you, a plus followed by an equal symbol. So this is the complete symbol, plus followed by an equal, and then you have opening and closing brackets, which are just the brackets you use to create an array. You have opening and closing square brackets, and then inside those square brackets you have the item that you want to add into the array. So let's add Kevin, and you see that we have added Kevin into our list of friends. And let's add Gwen, and if we just expand this, we will see that Gwen is added to the array friend list. So this means that using this method we can add multiple items in an array at once. So I'll just have here limitation, you can only add a single item in an array using this method. And then here I will say you can add multiple items, you can add multiple items in an array using this method. So yeah, and it doesn't mean that we cannot add a single item using this method. We can also only have one item added to an array using this method, and we can also have multiple items. So I'll just revert to that, and let's see if we can actually add variables that are of the type as the items in the array. I mean, let's actually try adding a variable of type string. So I'll have let here, let second best friend equal, and I'll have Tim here, and there's no person named Tim that I know, but hey, for the sake of example, let's add our second best friend. So friend list plus equal, and by the way, this is a unary operator, and we will discuss about unary operators in future videos. And just when we finish the topic of or the topic of arrays, we will start with operators, and we will learn about unary operators in that topic. So yeah, we have friend list and then plus equal, which is a unary operator, and then we have opening and closing square brackets, and inside we will add the item. And by the way, we don't need these double quotes, we can just have the name of the variable right here. So you see that Tim has been added to this array friend list. Let's try and add multiple items in this array. Let third best friend equals, and I'm just let's have Jack here, and let's add third best friend here and see if it is possible or not. Third best friend, and you see that Jack has been added into this list, into this array. So that means we can add multiple items which are variables of the same type as that of the items in that array, if that makes sense. I don't know what I just spoke, just ignore that. What I want to say is you can have two variables or more than two variables that you can add in an array using this method, using the second method, provided that they are of the same type as that of the items in an array. So I hope you understood what I want to tell you. And let's have another friend, let's say Harry. I hope we don't have Harry in this array already. So let's have Harry. So we can also do that all at once. We can add items to an array as variables and as string literals at once using this method. I hope you are getting my point. I know it might be confusing because of the way I'm speaking, but yeah, so that's it. And you can have items in an array. So let's I'll just demonstrate it with an example. Plus equal, let's say you have two friends with the same name, so they share the same name, but you want to have both in this list regardless of their same names. So let's have Steve right here. Let's try and add Steve using this method, and we see that we do not get an error. That means you can have multiple we can have the same value twice or thrice or multiple times in the array. So we have Steve twice. So my point is that you can have Steve as many times as you want. It doesn't mean that you can have a unique value only once. You can have that multiple times in the array. So I think I have confused you a bit in this video, but this was important to tell you because a lot of people don't practice, and when I was learning HTML and CSS, I didn't practice at all, and then I was weak. After I finished my series, I finished my course. So the thing is that you should practice on your own. You should experiment. You should just try different things, try different combinations. You should have the curiosity to actually learn, and that's when you can actually start learning. So we can even have Steve and then Steve again here. Let's say we have 3 friends that share the same name, or maybe Steve is a very common name. So you can see that we have Steve 3 times right here. So first Steve, second Steve, and then third Steve. And yeah, so I told you that we cannot add multiple items in an array using the first method, which is the append method. Let's call it the append method. So append method. So this is the first method is the append method. It's not the official name or something. It might be, but I don't know. So we will call the append method for now. This method we will call the append method. And let's have a recap. So I told you that you cannot add multiple items in an array using the append method, but you can add that using the second method. And let's also give it a name so that it's not awkward. Let's have unary method. Maybe, I don't know what we should have, so let's have unary method. And yeah, we can add variables, not actually variables, the value of variable into an array. So we have a constant, and when I say variables, I mean variables and constant both. So we can have we have a constant, we can actually specify that constant in these brackets, and what that will do is it will search for best friend, which is right here, and it will take the value of best friend, which is Mrinal, which is of type string, and then add it to the array. And we discussed that it is not possible to add a variable that is of different type, or even any item that is of different type than the type of items in that array. and we learned about the second method, the unary method of adding items into an array, and we discussed that we can add multiple items using this method. And then we had some examples, and we had declared two constants, one with the name of second best friend that had a value of Tim, and the other with the name of third best friend with which had the value of Jack, which are both of type strings. So these both are string. And then we added the value of these variables to our array using the unary method, and we also added another item which was not a variable or a constant, and we said that we can have multiple mirroring, or multiple values or items that are same. So in this case Steve and Steve are same, so let's have Steve equal Steve. I forgot double quotes. So Steve equal Steve, and this is a boolean, so you can see that it is, despite it is true, we can add it to our array. And I'll tell you what that means in future videos, but what that does is actually checks that is the thing on the left hand side equal to the thing on right hand side. And all of this is part of the next topic, which is operators, which I'll tell you when we start that topic. And I hope this is it for the video, guys. The video is of 22 minutes already, so that's pretty long. It's the longest video till date in this series, but I just wanted to explain this topic as deeply as possible. And in the next video we might actually have a total recap of arrays, and there is still a lot of things left to cover in this topic, but these are just the basics. And do not think that, hey, these are basics, these are so difficult. It's not difficult. Some of the people think that this is difficult. I was like this when I started learning programming, and believe me, if you practice, you will love to do programming, which is my passion. I mean, I love to do programming all the time. I love to discover new things and all. And the thing is that you have to practice. And at this note, I will end the video. And guys, thanks for watching. Goodbye.